Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. Just a quick thought before I get into these questions today that actually came in on the webinar that DJ and I did. I've been playing golf, and in fact last week I actually went and worked with DJ, and we hit some balls on the range and then went out and played a few holes. He said, Dad, he said, you know, he said, it seems like you don't really ever get to a really good finish anymore. It's like you kind of get there, but you don't last. You're always kind of somewhat falling backwards. And I started thinking about that a little bit, and I think sometimes we can get there and make that pretty good swing all the way to getting there, but we can get a little careless with it and just let ourselves fall out too fast. And so the key is to get there, recoil and relax with the club facing the target. It was just a matter of putting a little effort into that. But let's talk about these three questions. This came in during the webinar, as I said, and this first one is from Jay Wagner, and he says, "Hi Serge, thanks for all your insights into the golf swing. After years of lessons with instructors telling me my swing was too steep vertical and trying to make me rotate beyond the physical ability with resulting pain, I came across your site. I downloaded all the videos and the manual last February. I have made progress, especially with my Woods hybrids that I hit more solid and straight. I just had my driver cut down to 43 inches and adjusted to the same swing weight. What a difference. My weak area is my irons. I tend to have a lot of thins, and those that aren't thin still right of my aiming line. Not a slice, just right. If I try to move the ball slightly forward, the thins get worse. Any suggestions about how I can get better iron contact?" Okay, that was from Jay. That's the first one. I'm going to read another one, two more here, because it seems like it's a kind of a subject that's really coming forward from folks. The second one states, former golf school student Scott Silverman asks, he says, "I am similar in height to you, 6'3". You know, he's not talking about me, he's talking about DJ. "And I have clubs 1.5 inches over standard in length. My most common swing mistake is hitting the ball thin. I'm pretty sure I'm lifting up with my upper body. I try to work on pretending I want to hit the ball as high as I can to fix this problem. Any other thoughts on fixing these thin shots and tops?" All right, and last but not least, we got one from Frederick Smith. Frederick Smith says, "I have a tendency to hit thin shots. Any suggestions?" Oh, you know the Serge always has suggestions, but I'm going to still go back to my very first one with Jay, and he gave away, I think, some of his what's a high probability, and usually the number one thing I'm always going to say about any shot that's going bad. He says, I tend to have a lot of thin hits, and those that aren't thin are still right of my aiming line. Not a slice, just right." Okay, so what is that leading us to? Alignment, the big A. If you're hitting pretty good shots with an iron, and they're relatively close to solid and a good flight pattern and trajectory, and they're going dead straight, the only thing I can say is your ball position was correct and your swing was pretty good, but you hit the ball right where you aimed. And as you know, you've heard me say it a number of times, and I'll say it again, if you stand here and you make what you think is a really good golf swing, okay, and you have a good setup, you have a good swing, you hit it, it feels dead solid, perfect. You look up and the ball's going dead straight, right of where you want it. Once you hit that shot, recoil and relax. This is why I brought this up in the beginning of this video about being able to hang in here, because you turn yourself back, your feet haven't moved, you turn yourself back, you bend down, put the club down by your toes, you go behind yourself, and you just look at your club. And I'll bet you in most cases your club is at or maybe even right at the target to begin with. But what I always do is I come to where the ball is, I stand dead at a right angle, my chest and my eyes at a right angle to where the ball was, and I just raise my hand like that, which will be parallel right of my club on the ground there. And where do you think that finger's pointing every time when I do it? Right where the ball went. So what does that tell me? It tells me that I basically hit that shot right where I was aimed. So we're always coming back to alignment, the big A. How you aim determines how you swing and where the ball goes and how well you hit it in between and all those other things that involve with it. So now I got to bring this, I'm bringing this back to, why are you hitting the ball thin? Well, if you're out to the right and say you got a perfect setup, you have a perfect setup to hit the ball in the right bunker, which is not where you want to be because the pin's in the green somewhere. If the brain somewhere along the swing gets a hint that, hey, this isn't right. If I pure this shot, swinging straight down my lines, it's going right in the right bunker. I want it to go on the green. So what happens? A couple of changes happen. Number one, you very likely will do what? Start to turn a little bit sooner. Anytime you turn your shoulders to start the downswing, your body's moving slightly forward. You get ahead of it. It'll very likely be thin if you're coming in and maintaining your angle. Meaning that if I come into the shot and I get my shoulders turning a little bit too fast and get ahead of the ball, you could hear by that sound that was really thin. I over-exaggerated it, but it's easy to do. Another key would be is just, in many cases, you could actually start to clear too much in some cases and go backwards, which could also thin it, but thin it to the point where you very likely could be topping it. Now, naturally, the alternative would be is if you hit a number of those, and I wouldn't doubt that this possibly happens. You get in there, and you've been hitting that thin shot from ahead, so all of a sudden you come in this time, and you're going to get ahead of it, and you're going to go ahead and throw the club at it. And then you got a chunk, it could possibly be a pull or a pop-up. But you can come in here and do that, and get ahead of it, hit it more solid, but it's still going to be low, and could be anywhere from right to left, depending on whether you squared the club up or not. But the whole issue is, all of these ball striking problems came about because of the bad alignment. And the most dysfunctional part about this whole thing, in terms of getting better at what you're doing, is it's dysfunctional because if you hit the best shots you hit, the ones you might say, you're always probably saying to yourself, man, why did that go over there? I hit it so good. And because you hit it good and the ball technically blocked to the right based on your target, you're saying, I blocked it or I pushed it. Well, the problem there that again makes this whole system dysfunctional, especially mentally, is you just made a good swing to a wrong place. Now, it was the right place for where you were aimed physically, but not the right place for where you were aimed mentally. We got to get those two to correspond. The mental alignment, parallel left, has to be parallel left physically to make a good swing and hit the ball straight to the target. So in that case, if you line up to the right and make a perfect swing and hit it in the right bunker, which is your physical alignment, not your mental, but blame that good swing as being a bad swing, now you just messed up the whole concept in your mind of what a good swing is. You've just taken this good swing that you made and basically taken it and crumpled it up like a piece of paper and threw it in the trash. Talk about messing your brain up. Just made the swing that you want to dream about, lick your chops over, you know, finger licking good, as they say with chicken, right? Fried chicken, and you just threw it away as bad. So now your brain is kind of in this mode of, well, what's right? Boy, I thought that felt pretty good, but remember, blocks and pushes is not a good swing. It is a swing error, and the worst thing you want to do is make good swings and dismiss them as errors. And so I think in many cases the number one key for hitting thin shots is always alignment. And another case of alignment is many times if you're aiming bad enough to the right or far enough to the right, you actually have to do what? You're going to pull your body out of the shot. And so if you pull your body out of the shot, you can pull it all the way up where you can whiff it. Just like that, when you saw I nipped the top of it and barely moved an inch. But you can turning out of the way can also have you straighten your legs up, and that's another reason of tops. But basically, go back to alignment. Hit that shot, put the club down, check your toes out. When you hit it good, to the wrong place, and if you hit it really bad, check it out again, because I bet you're going to find out it was bad alignment. So at that point, you just say, okay, now that time it was a bad swing, but it was still bad alignment. I need to aim correctly, and then do what? Get up on the next swing and just, secret number 5. Who cares what you did wrong? Do the next one right. The only exception to the secret number 5, who cares, is alignment. Because if you make that good shot, that finish, where you hold your finish and come back down, and you can turn yourself around and put the club down by your toes, and come back here and check it, you can always rule out, without a doubt, was it the big A or not. So let's play golf thinking about and never forgetting alignment, alignment, alignment. Don't play golf without it.